Morning Sunday, everybody. Evening Sunday for people in India. This is Rima Desai from The Guiding Star. I am making this video especially for a special request from one of my client who has been telling me since a long time to give all the updates of what's going on with Saturn, Sati. There's also been a lot of other changes with planets in the sky in 2022. It's quite a year. It's quite a year with a lot of the changes. This is something I was mentioning since last December. And so let's go over what are the many astrology transits that are happening in the sky as per Vedic Sidereal Astrology, which is astrology from India. And I'm going to give you just a brief. I'm not going to go over all the 12 signs for each one of you in today's video yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go on, just going to give you a review, just a preview basically of what the changes look like astrologically. And then we will come back in another video to look at each zodiac sign and how that impacts you and your life. I also have to still make the Mars Mangal video for part 2. So I know that's still in the pipeline. I do want to encourage all of you to check out my website, rimadesai.org, for all the wonderful work that I have been blessed to be doing with many of my women clients across the world and children locally. I'm very passionate about, I am very good in my work. I'm very good at my work here is to help women overcome their depression, their personal problems, their health challenges, propel their career forward, and increase their confidence and reduce anxiety, and help them with parenting issues. But I know that there are other times when, even men will approach me and we will do sessions with clearing out the blocks from your life. That is one of the most powerful service, and if that's something that you want to look into, go ahead and check that out on my website. Okay, so let's jump into this. What's happening? What's really going on in the sky right now? I'm going to turn my camera to show you my board. Okay, so what I need you to know, and I've repeated this so many times, but I'll repeat it for any new viewers. This is a North Indian chart. This is what a chart looks like if an Indian astrologer was looking at your Kundli or your birth chart, which is also known as the Lagna chart. Now, in this chart, there are total 12 boxes, and all the 12 boxes, each box would depict one zodiac sign, starting from Aries all the way to Pisces. So, the sign of, have I written? Yes, Aries all the way to Pisces, right? All the 12 signs. But depending on when you were born, the time, the birth, and the place, the time, the date, and the place of birth, you would have a different rising sign ranging anywhere from the 1 to 12 zodiac signs, right? So, for example, somebody who was born today in Phoenix may have number 4 over here, which shows that they are a Cancer rising sign. Because number 1 is Aries, number 2 is Taurus. This is the usual zodiac sign order, the same order. If the number 12 was written over here, that means that they're Pisces rising sign. So what you need to know in order to be able to see the effects of what I'm going to talk about today is you would need to know what is your rising sign. That'll help you much more in understanding this video, the impact. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry. You can reach out to me, any astrologer. With friends and family, I can just quickly look at your rising sign and tell you what that is. If you want to know, just ping me. Or you can seek out, obviously, consultation and get to know more about what's really happening for you this year. So when I'm talking about, let's say, Rahu being in the sign of Aries, I'm not talking about people with Aries sun sign. Everybody in their chart has all the 12 zodiac signs. There's all the 12 zodiac signs that are in your horoscope somewhere, right? Like it could either be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 in whatever order. So what I'm going to talk about today applies to each and every one of you in some way. That's something important for you to know. And if you know your rising sign, you'll be able to understand this video a lot more. All right. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's start with Shani because my client has been burning to know what is happening with the Sati. What's really happening with people who had Capricorn moon. So if you had Capricorn, which is Makar Rashi, moon sign, Sati, which is Saturn going over your moon or from around your moon, in the houses nearing your moon, Sati is seen from the moon sign. So my moon sign, let's say if my moon sign was a Scorpio, if this is where my moon was, Chandra, and Saturn was going over the sign of Scorpio in the sky, then I'm running my Sati, right? That's what we mean by Sati. It's basically considered a difficult time in your life, in short. If I were to say it in the shortest time, in the shortest words, I have other videos on Sati. Go check out my YouTube or go onto my videos link on Facebook, on my Facebook profile, and look out for videos on Sati, and you'll understand that more. But for all of those who had Capricorn moon, if you have Capricorn moon in your natal chart, in your Lagna chart, Lagna is not marriage, it's the marriage of the body to the soul, so it's your birth chart. If you had, let's say, Capricorn here, if you're Capricorn rising, and you have moon here in your rising sign, in your birth chart, then Saturn has currently been in the sign of Capricorn in the sky. And what that's doing is it's impacting you emotionally, because moon is your emotions. It's causing difficulties in your life that is making you feel stretched in some way, either, by losing family members or health issues or financial issues or issues with employees if you run a business, all kinds of different issues that it can bring. So Saturn, is still in the sign of Capricorn right now, until the 4 stands for April 29th of this year. Until April 29th of this year, April 28th of this year, Saturn is going over Capricorn still from 2020 until now. But it is going to temporarily move out from April 29th to July 11th in the sign of Aquarius. So then anybody who has Aquarius moon, I have a cousin, I have other people that I know, quite a few people in fact that I know that have Aquarius moon. So let's say if this was your sign of Aquarius, number 11 is depicted by Aquarius, and here is where your moon is, that's your moon sign in your natal chart. Now Saturn is going to be here from April 29th to July 11th of this year. That means that if you were a Capricorn moon, your Sati is going to temporarily lift the main period of your Sati, which is called the Dhaya period, when Saturn is literally in the same house as where your natal moon is. That is going to lift temporarily just from April 29th to July 11th. But then from July 12th, it's going to come back. Saturn is going to find its way back, reverse mode, to the sign of Capricorn. So in short, if you were asking me, is my Sati over if I'm a Capricorn moon? No, your Sati is not over. You're getting a short break, a breather, which is much needed. A moon in the sign of Capricorn generally is a difficult sign for the moon. In general, that is just a person who's had a difficult time in their life with, thank you for your likes, thank you for watching, with their mother and emotions and feeling nurtured. And so when Saturn is moving over, actually your actual natal moon in the sign of Capricorn, it's been a very difficult time. So you need a break. You're getting a break from April 29th to July 11th. But your actual Sati is getting over when Saturn completely shifts out of the sign of Capricorn for the next 30 years. For the next approximately 30, so between 28 to 30 years. And that's going to happen in January. I think it's 20th of January, around that date of 2023. So your Sati is still going to be running until 2023 January. Thank you again. Thank you for likes and watching, everybody. But those who have Aquarius moon, my cousin, my friends, I surprisingly know quite a few people with Aquarius moon. Your Sati, you're going to have that Dhaya period, the main period of your Saturn going over your moon, starting now, April 29th to July 11th. And then again from 2023 January, this marker for some reason is not working. And then again from 2023 January until approximately July 2025. I have to look at the exact dates. I haven't looked at the dates then. That is for Aquarius moon. If you're an Aquarius moon, this is going to be the main period of your Dhaya. Your Dhaya is like when the Saturn is literally going over your natal moon. So, again, I'm not going to talk about what are the impacts of Sade Sati. That has to be a whole different video. That would take another 1 hour. But these were just the dates for you to know, because one of my clients has been waiting for me to make this video and share this information. Now, another thing for us to know is Shani is going to go Vakri. It's going to go retrograde, which means it's going to go in reverse motion. It's going to go reverse. So from Aquarius, it's going to start finding its way back into Capricorn from June 4th. So remember, from June 4th until July 11th, it's still in the sign of Aquarius, but it's going to go backwards. So imagine like Saturn from April 29th, it's walking its steps in the sky in the sign of Zodiac. It reaches here in Aquarius, and then it stills, it takes a pause. And then it starts finding its way backwards, back to the sign of Capricorn. That's going to happen from June 4th to November 10th of this year. It's going to go Vakri. Now, when Saturn goes retrograde, there's two things to know, like on the impact that it can create for us. If you're like me and you have retrograde Saturn in your chart, you see me smiling because that becomes a very powerful time. In general, for people who already have retrograde Saturn in your chart. Reason is, retrograde Saturn generally has given you so many difficulties in life over and beyond. Like when somebody else may give an interview and they will get through, if you have retrograde Saturn, you might have better abilities than them, but you might have to give an interview 3 times at 3 different places before you just have to work much harder in life. Things don't come easy. So because that makes you very resilient as a person, as you grow older, the older you are, when Saturn is retrograde in your chart and then it's going retrograde in the sky, it helps you out. It propels your motion forward. And for everybody else, it becomes a harder time because they're not as resilient as you are. They haven't had as many mishaps and failures in their life as you have. So this is the time for you to shine. But if you don't have retrograde Saturn in your chart, this is going to be a harder time. In general, there's a lot of other calculations to look into, what time period you're running, like there's so much more to know. But this is just a very general overview. So that's just to do with Shani Dev. Saturn is still in its own sign of Capricorn, and then it's going to go into its own sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is Saturn's true home. Even though it gives us difficulty, it's going to reduce the sense of the burden, the weightage that we feel once it leaves Capricorn for the next 30 years in 2023 January. So when it enters Aquarius, it is still a difficult time for anybody who has Aquarius moon, but otherwise in general, we're going to see much lighter, much easier time. The pandemic, I feel like, is going to normalize. This is going to be the time when finally, after January next year, the pandemic is completely going to flatten out. So it's either going to become like flu, people are living with flu and a flu vaccine, or it just disappears. So I'm pretty sure either of the two will finally that we're done with the pandemic. I genuinely feel that that's what's going to happen. So curious to know and see if that's how it turns out to be or not. Let's move to the big transit of Rahu and Ketu. Rahu and Ketu have moved signs already this month. They were in the sign of Taurus, Rahu, which is North Node in Taurus, and Ketu South Node in Scorpio for the last 18 months. Now, these were their comfortable signs. They were very powerful in these two signs for the last 18 months. And especially if you have a positive Mars, positive Scorpio in your chart, or positive Taurus in your chart. Remember, all of us have all the 12 signs sitting somewhere in the chart. So everybody has this transit impacted in some ways. So if you had that, this was a great time for you. It was a great time for me. Like, even though I don't have a prominent Taurus, but I have a very prominent Scorpio in my chart. I'm not a Scorpio person, but very prominent position of like Mars and Scorpio. So it gave me a lot of support. But now what's happening is Rahu is moving now. It has moved already actually on April 13th. On April 13th, they moved, and let me make this again. Let me erase this so that I can explain this more easily. For those of you who are very visual, this might help. Sorry. So Rahu has moved now into the sign of Aries. Aries is a very fiery sign. It's the first sign of the zodiac, depicted by the ram, for those of you who know the sign of Aries. And so let's say if this was your Aries, this is where your Aries is, number one, and this is where your sign of Libra, exactly opposite. Rahu is going here and Ketu is going here now. It is now here for the next 18 months until October 30th of 2023. So this is going to be their transit. They're always apart. They're always 180 degrees apart. So they always move together. They're called the shadows of the moon. The moon is the mind, our emotions, and these are called like the shadows, the extended impact, if I may say, in astronomically. But in astrology, there's a lot of significance of Rahu Ketu to the direction of the soul. There's a lot of karmically we are very, our soul is very intertwined with what Rahu and Ketu are doing in our chart. Ketu is all past life, everything that we've already have naturally in our DNA. If you're naturally a very good dancer, a speaker, like you were born with that talent, that's your Ketu. If there are things that you struggle with, you have to learn your lessons, that's Rahu, your North Node. That's the direction we want to go towards, while taking support from our past experiences and lessons. So Rahu going in the sign of Aries. Aries is a very, very fiery sign. And you saw me post on my Facebook the pictures of martial arts and, the swords and war and fighting, because before even Rahu went into Aries, we have already started seeing the violence, the impact in the world of Ukraine and Russia, right? It's already there. I feel like there's going to be upheaval. I don't look into a lot of political and world astrology. I wouldn't even say that I'm apt, like I know that much. But it doesn't surprise me that the war has started even before Rahu started going into Aries, because it was moving towards the sign of Aries. Aries is Mars. It's ruled by the planet Mars. Mars is a soldier. It's a very fiery planet. And if you've seen my video on Mangal Dosh, if you haven't seen it, you want to go see it, because you will understand the impact of Rahu in Aries very well if you understand Manglik Dosh, because Aries is the sign of Mangal, and Aries is the ram. It just charges full force forward without thinking, without any inhibitions. It can be very aggressive and impulsive, and all it wants to achieve its goal, no matter what. For that, a bad or a negative Mangal or a negative Rahu will be ready to kill everything that in its way, push it away, because it only wants its goal. Nothing can come in its way. Or if it's a good Mangal, a good Aries, a good Rahu in your chart, then it's going to fight the people in a good way, right? It's going to be the good over the evil, but it will still fight to win the war. So the agenda of this Rahu in Aries, in wherever it is in your chart, the agenda is with aggression, with full force. It wants to win the war, no matter what the goal is, wherever it is sitting in your chart. Like there's so much that can be happening in your chart that I cannot speak to it. I can only give you a generic scenario. And I'll give you an actual example I'll give you some different examples here. And so Ketu in the sign of Libra, Libra is the sign of balance and harmony and love and relationships and not making anybody upset and, resolving conflicts with peace. And with Ketu being there, like the South Node, Ketu likes to cut things. It rips things apart, like a very, very sharp scissor. So this is going to be the time in the world where there is not going to be a balance. It's a tipping point. It's literally like Rahu is literally tipping the scales this way. There's going to be lack of balance likely in our lives, depending on where the sign of Libra is in your chart. Depending on what time period you're running in your chart. Are you running a time period that is more in sync with Ketu or more in sync with Rahu? But you're going to find a lot of force in the sign of Aries in your chart, 100%. Obviously more impacted for somebody who has a more prominent Aries in their chart versus somebody who doesn't. So let's look at some examples. In this chart, Aries, number 1, is in the 4th house. This is the 4th house, 1, 2, 3, 4. In this person's chart, whoever this person may be, they are So this would be 12, 11, 10. They're Capricorn rising. Now, in that sense, what happens is there's going to be a lot of conflict, airiness, fire, arguments, disturbance, likely in the home, because this is the sign of home and comfort or mother. Traveling away from home could be possible. This is a sign of their career, their status in the world and reputation. So, again, like I told you, wherever Rahu is, Ketu is going to be exactly opposite of it. So there's going to be disturbance and a lot of energy related to home and career. But this could be, if they're running a good time period, that this person ends up buying a bigger home, because Rahu expands things. It bloats things out of proportion. So this person may be really getting into real estate. If it's a realtor, this could be a very, very solid, good time for them. Likely, could be. Let's look at the opposite. Now, sorry, let me give you one more example. Now, let's say that there are other planets in this person's chart. There's Mars. Let's say there's Mars here. Then Rahu and Mars. Mars is in its own sign. Mars is the Lord of Aries. Now, this person, there's going to be a lot of fiery energy now. There's going to be a lot of emphasis on the fourth house, which could be either extremely positive, like plus is positive, or it could be the extreme negative, the total opposite, total destruction. So there's going to be no balance in that sense. It would depend on the overall combinations of the chart. I want to give you the example of somebody that I know was very, very powerful as a soul. This is their true chart, and I'm very excited for them for this time. They are in Cancer rising. This is not my chart. I want to let you know that. They're Cancer, but they're a cusp between Cancer and Leo. And Aries is their 10th house, and they have natal Rahu in their chart with Mars. They're a martial artist. Very, 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 very good at their trade. Very strong martial artists, like can literally, actually, fight with people in real life. So, and that's all they've done all their life, only martial art. That's their career. That's what they do. Now, this person has natal Rahu and Mars in the sign of Aries, and now the transiting Rahu in the sky. This is what they're born with, their DNA. But now they have transiting Rahu in the sky going over both of these natal planets. So they have dual Rahu, and then they have natal Mars. This person, they've recently restarted their Taekwondo practice after a huge fall down. They're going to nail their career in the next 18 months. There's going to be so much name and fame that's going to come to this person. It's a very positive Mars in their chart. There could be a lot of competition and challenges that they have to win, but they will be victorious over everything and anything that comes their way. Also, but because they have natal Ketu, South Node, in their 4th house, and now Ketu is transiting in the sky, so dual impact of Ketu, and this is relationships. There's going to be so much focus that they're going to have to put on their career that they're going to not be able to focus on home and family and happiness. So there's going to be that compromise. There's going to be disturbance in the home. There could be repairs needed, unexpected repairs in the home. There could be unexpected health challenges with the mother, accidents like car issues, so many different things. But the focus is likely going to be here and winning this victory. Like there's going to be massive fame coming to this person in the next 18 months. So that's how you see, like if Rahu was in your Aries, if your Aries was in the 7th house, then that's could be multiple relationships, disturbance in your established relationship. If you're already in a marriage or relationship, there could be disturbance. Either you could cheat on your spouse, most likely it's going to be you, or your spouse could cheat on you. There could be extramarital affairs. But there could also be a lot of name and fame that comes with your work. So there's so many different ways that you things to look into. Sorry, not ways, but combinations to look into to know how to assess this time. But these were just some examples with Rahu and Ketu. In other words, it's a fiery time. It's going to be, there are remedies in a way, but I feel like the best way to get through this is focus on the goals that Aries has in your chart and do your best to just continue with some grounding and meditation in terms of your relationships and harmony. I think that's a whole different video. I don't think I can speak much to it. There'll be too much detail to give. Now, an exciting thing to know is while Saturn is going into its own sign of Aquarius from April 29th to July 11th, it's going into its Mool Trikon, its main house. It's becoming very, very strong. At the same time, we have Jupiter, Gurudev, in its own sign of Pisces. So becoming very, very strong in its Mool Trikon. We call it Mool Trikon. It's like, I have a vacation home. Let's say I have a vacation home in Mumbai. I have a home in Ahmedabad and in Mumbai. And if I come and visit and I live there for 2 years, like in my own home, I'm going to feel so comfortable. I'm going to feel so happy. So I'm going to be in such a good mood that everybody who's around me, they're going to see that. They're going to have the impact of my good mood. And I'm going to want to bless the people that come into my home, like guests. And, it's just like welcoming people into my own home and treating them very well. So Jupiter in the sign of Pisces is going to be treating us and helping us very well. It already transited along with Rahu Ketu that moved on April 12th. Jupiter moved on April 13th from the sign of Aquarius, which was Saturn's sign. Jupiter doesn't like to be in the sign of Saturn. It was its enemy. They're enemies. Now Jupiter is going into its own sign of Pisces. So beautiful time, no matter where the sign of Pisces is in your chart. However, if you are a water sign, such as me, so if you are either number 4 rising, which is Cancer, or you're number 8, which is Scorpio, or you're number 12, which is Pisces, where Jupiter is. Jupiter is transiting in Pisces, number 12. Then this is going to be a beautiful time. Why? Because Jupiter is going to be either here, here, or here, looking directly at your first house. It's directly going to be looking. There's different laws to astrology that I cannot tell you right now. It'll be too much detail, but through their aspects. If Jupiter is either in your Kendra, so if it's transiting any of these 4 houses, or Trikon, the triangle, 1st, 9th, or 12th house, it's going to bless you. And Jupiter is a very, very positive planet. So it enhances optimism, brings good, easy things in our life. So if you have either Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces moon or ascendant, this is going to be an excellent time, especially for Cancer rising, number 4, because Jupiter is going into your Bhagyastan. This is Bhagyastan, luck. And Jupiter is coming here after 12 long years. 12 years. So imagine 12 years ago, and now you must have grown so much. Your life must have moved forward. It's coming here. It's coming here to open your fortune, your Bhagya. And Jupiter for the sign of Cancer is a work house, 6th house of work and routine. So likely very strong, very, very strong chances for Cancer to get a promotion, move forward in their career, open up, maybe travel for pilgrimage, have gurus and blessings from elders. But, again, like that could be related, it could be, Bhagya can be related to money, relationships, like really anything. Beautiful time. So that's about it that I wanted to share. We will talk more about Saturn in Aquarius when it comes into 2023 and remains there at 2025. That's going to be a wonderful time for anybody who is an air sign. So anybody who is either Libra, Libra moon, Aquarius, Aquarius moon, little difficult for Aquarius moon, or which is the other, Gemini or Gemini moon. That's going to be a fairly better time than right now when Saturn is in Capricorn. But we'll talk more about that when that happens. This is about it. I think I gave too many details and it can be too complex if you don't know much of astrology. For those of you who follow it, thank you for watching. Continue to write to me your questions. I'm happy to answer and guide you as much as I can. I do astrology consultations, basic ones. I don't go into very deep details specifically, and I do refer my clients out to people when I think like this is not something that I cover. But I enjoy that. I recently, in fact, this month has been filled with astrology readings. What I love is when my clients take sessions to tell me, just to look at what are my children's personalities, or tell me more about my personality, you can just do an astrology consultation. It's on my website, just to know what rising sign you are, what are your traits, what are your personality traits, what are your strengths, and for your children, what are some things that you can look at for their careers, what are the best ways to deal with them given their innate personality, and what to avoid. So that's powerful insight. Astrology is great to get insight and greater awareness so that you can direct your life and put your efforts in the right direction without having to be too scattered or trial and error, randomly, putting your effort somewhere where it was not required. So astrology is great for that. And then we can do clearings to clear out shifts, to clear out blocks and create shifts in your life. Once again, thank you for watching me on your Sunday. I hope you got your answer, especially my client. I made this especially for you because I know you've been waiting for a long time with your Sati question. I look forward to making my next video with Mangal Dosh Part 2 and then more astrology videos for you. Bye.